Well, welcome to Puppetry as Painting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start by sharing my screen and presenting the activity that way, and providing some background about myself and my own art practice, just to give you a sense of where I'm coming from with this, and then to give you the kind of instructions for the activity. And then we'll basically do independent work, but we'll be doing it live together, and I'll be here for questions. So I'm going to do the sharing screen first.
Okay, I'm going to mute myself and turn off my video, so if I'm needed, just because I have children. And
yeah, that sounds good, Emily. All right, Google Chrome. Okay, do you see this painting for puppetry?
Yes.
You do? Yes, great. Okay, so yeah, my name is Scott Schultheis. I'm an artist and a teacher. I'm based in South Philadelphia. I grew up in New York City. I came here to go to graduate school at the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts. So I have like a painting background, and my work has come off the wall a little bit in the past few years and come into some space between performance and sculpture and painting. It's become a blend, especially in quarantine. I found that I wanted to kind of activate things a little bit more. And so I think that's where this idea comes from. When I'm talking about puppetry here, I am talking about like acting out things with puppets, but I'm mainly talking about using painting in a playful way. Being able to use paintings, you know, in this way that you can put them on your finger and you can create new stories and new ideas. And these things can be sort of anything, right? I have a range, I've been going through a range of subject matter and playing with ideas of scale. And what it does for me is it completely has opened up my painting practice and what I feel like I can do with it. You know, when you have a painting, you get it on the wall maybe, and it's there for the rest of your life. And you might think about, oh, what inspired the painting, but it's pretty fixed. And having things like painting as puppets, you can move them around. I've been collaging them onto new surfaces. I've been photographing them in space. So I'm going to show you a little bit of that work. So this is like an example of what I mean when I say it's become a little bit of like performance, a little bit of sculpture. I've been creating some like huge body parts, and I think of this as a kind of big puppet, right? I'm inside this thing. I'm able to make it flexible and operate it. I think it's clear this is an ear. I actually don't know. It can be a little abstract. Yeah. An ear with Q-tip. I've sort of jumped into I've jumped into the nose. I've included my own leg in this. You know, the thing about puppetry, when I think about puppetry, I think about movement or imaginary movement. And so I've explored that in the painting with the snot coming out of the nostrils and the tissue being draped above the bridge of the nose, and then the foot implying some kind of like kick or something like that. So there's an implied movement, such as like, you know, if you make a puppet of a cup of coffee, maybe you can have implied movement of the steam coming out of the liquid, right? Here's an example where I was making all sorts of expressions of mouths. And I have like 20 different expressions that one would make with their mouth. And right here, I just use a paintbrush to attach to the back. And then I would take different photos. You know, and these are funny and they can be very lighthearted, but they express some, you know, I think some deeper emotional experiences that we've been going through in the last few months indoors, in this kind of like cabin fever experience that I've been having, that many people have been having. I'm not actually in here. These are all objects, what you're seeing, or painted things, prompted by the squirrels that I've been hearing inside my ceiling for the past couple of months. They've decided to nest in right above my bedroom. I'm so blessed for that. And but I've decided to turn it into an ongoing series of artworks where I embody the squirrel as versions of myself, or and have it do different things, right? So these are my clothes, but these are all little sort of pieces of painting that I've done separately. The hand is a separate thing, the brick is a separate thing, the little bird, the head, the tummy, the tail.
The clothes are real.
But the clothes are real, yes. Right? So this connects to puppetry, you know, a little bit too. I don't have a way yet to operate this as a puppet, but I sort of see it as a potential puppet, and I thought it was relevant to bring into the class, since we're going to be like cutting out the paintings we make. And this maybe gets the closest to puppetry because I am here, and I was sort of going around my house trying to get into the mindset of the squirrel that has taken over my mental life, so much of my mental life for the past several weeks. So we're kind of going to get into the conceptual parts and the instructions. So I just want to share a quote with you. Puppets are immediate and authentic. Honed from scraps of cloth, paper, and duct tape, they are the quintessential tricksters, court jesters without the court, able to cross boundaries of both opinion and propriety, enabling us to critique society and government with handmade beauty and wit. So, you know, puppetry, if you know any history about it, it does have a kind of interesting political history. Because it's so expressive, and it's been able to take up the causes of many social movements over the last 50 years, but also into the Middle Ages too. So I also wanted to share just some visual ideas of where this can go for you tonight, and how it can get abstract if you want, as you think about what you'd like to paint. It can also, so you have a few options, and I'll get into it. The puppet, because we're going to be doing it on paper, it can be one side. This is just a one-sided thing. Or it, one second, I'm just going to grab something. Or it can be something that you, that has sort of a two-sided element to it. In this case, this is the squirrel paw. I don't know if paw is the right word, but it has this piece, just another piece on the front, with an opening at the bottom, so that I can slip into it, right? So you could do this version of a puppet too, if you wanted to really have it snug and you wanted to have two sides. The easiest version to do for you, I would recommend, would to just be to focus on the one-sided version, but it's really up to you. So let me move into, I hadn't even finished this, but so did Cecilia and Acadia, did you get a materials list or suggested list?
Yes.
Okay, so you have some of the things, I imagine. Really all you need is paper, scissors, something to paint with, something to apply the paint with, tape or a glue stick, and some kind of palette, some water. Do you have all those things at the ready? Great.
Almost. My daughter wants to use pencils, so let's put them down.
Pencil's great. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Can you tell me what kind of pencil you're using? Just a regular #2 pencil or drawing pencil?
She has colored pencils.
Oh, awesome. Good. I also teach middle school students. I've been assistant teaching at Friend Select School in Center City this year, so I've gotten into the world of colored pencils because like everybody loves colored pencils. So I have them also with me here. Let me just say too that when I teach art, I'm not going to teach you step-by-step follow along instructions. I'm going to give you though an outline of what the activity is and things to think about. and then I will help you with anything that comes up. So I'm gonna read through the instructions, the basic instructions. So the first thing you want to do is you want to decide on what you want your painting puppet to depict. Person, animal, thing, idea, symbol, emotion, etc. Okay, what do you want to focus on? What seems like maybe it might be a good shape. You could think about it through shape, right? You could think about it through what's emotional and on your mind right now. Second step, sketch that idea onto the paper that you have. Third step is to cut it out. So I found it's helpful to first do the cutting, then to do the coloring in or the painting. Especially if you're using paint. If you're using colored pencil, Cecilia and Acadia, you could first do the colored pencil and then cut it out at the end. I just find that it's satisfying to get your shape cut out at the beginning. You feel like you've kind of got something going. Cut it out. If you wanted to have a front and a back and completely cover your finger, place a second sheet of paper underneath before you cut. Does that make sense, right? So you would get two versions of the same thing. If you made two sides, tape them together. So what I've done here is I have taped here and here along the sides. I've left the bottom completely open. So that's what, if you wanted to do a double-sided thing, once you had your two shapes cut out, you would want to tape just along the sides and leave room for your finger. I mean, maybe it's going over two fingers, maybe it's going over your whole hand. Think about the space you need to leave. On the other hand, if it just has a front, what I've been doing for that is I create a ring. And the ring is it's a thin strip of paper, right? What I do is I wrap the ring around my finger. I first wrap the strip around my finger. I tape that strip to make the ring, and then I tape the ring to the back, all right? That's how you guarantee it's gonna be the size of your finger, because you did that first, and I found that to be an easy method.
And so are you using like watercolor paper or?
I love something called, it's a printmaking paper. It's what people would use for like a wood block or linoleum block or, I forgot the word for it, so I'm not gonna say it, but yeah, it's sort of like heavy drawing paper. It can tolerate some paint. What do you have?
We have like mixed media paper or watercolor paper or just like sulfur paper from, grade school kind of paper.
Yeah, I would say the mixed media or the watercolor are fine. Yeah. So I see someone, I just noticed that someone's new here. Is it Charu?
Like mixed media, he said?
Is it Charu Puri? I just want to make sure that you're able to hear me and follow along. Feel free to type in the chat at any point. What I've been doing, in case you missed some of the intro, I introduced myself, sort of where this is coming from. And I've been giving these instructions. So we're on to number 5, which is paint your painting puppet. Think about a style or multiple styles and go with it. Cartoonish, realist, geometric, outlined, soft, etc. I've found this works best if you don't worry too much about how things really look in real life, right? This is a blue coffee cup with blue steam. That's not really how things look. On the other hand, this is maybe a pretty realistic hoagie. To me, it was important to get all the layers of the hoagie into that. If things like that are important to you, go for that. And I can help you. I can help suggest technical things in your colored pencil technique or your painting. Just let me know if you're trying to do something specific, and I'll try to talk you through it. Of course, number 6 is explore and enjoy this. Our goal is to create one finished painting puppet or colored pencil puppet today. And I know we can do it. I've done it in much less than that. I know I've been doing this for a while, but I've done it in less than that. So it's very doable. And let me just see if there's any questions off the bat that people may have.
Oh, I have a question. It's kind of
Yeah.
weird. So could you make something that morphs like from one shape to another, or is that like too hard?
That's interesting. Are you thinking about like, if you wanted to make a face and then you wanted the eyes to open and close, or are you talking about something else?
I guess, I mean, that this isn't what I want to do. I guess I'm not sure yet, but like say you had like an iceberg and it melted.
Ooh, that's so cool. So here's the thing. To do that, yeah, I mean, you could do something. Let's say your iceberg was, let's say this is kind of like an iceberg shape, right? What if you made a separate piece out of a separate piece of paper, right? That you put behind it, and then you could maneuver it with your thumb or something.
Okay. Oh,
and
like,
make like.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and so in that way, it's kind of a finger puppet, right? It stays on your hand. You're able to do some animation like that. You could. This is, as I said, this is meant to provide you with like creative extensions from this. So what you might do is you might make a video of that, right? You might do a short animation of that. You might just do 2 photographs where you showed the main iceberg and then you showed this piece coming up or something, or the reverse, right?
Yeah.
About you're trying to depict melting. I love that idea. Yeah. Any other questions or thoughts right now?
Sorry, can I ask one more question?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, please.
I mean, maybe articulated isn't the right word. That means it bends. But if you wanted something, you know, like I'm thinking of like those collapsible cups, you know, where you can extend it out and it's a cup and it pushes down. Is there like a good technique for like building that kind of structure versus like the painting of it?
So my experience in puppetry is I'm coming from a completely outsider perspective as a painter. So I honestly don't know the answer to that yet. Because the movement that I've done with puppetry is entirely, almost entirely imaginary, sort of conceptual movement. So I don't know, it's an awesome idea. I'll do some research while we're doing the class and encourage you to kind of see what you can do. But also, if keeping it simple might be a good place to start. just for the sake of the next hour and change. But I love it. It reminds me of like Slinkies and Jack in the Boxes and things like that. I mean, I guess the thing what you make me think of is like other materials that would be helpful for that. Flexible materials.
Yeah, I mean, because like for moving, like you could use a brad or something. So I mean, it's yeah.
So here's one idea. Yeah, I mean, do you have any flexible wire?
I don't know. I have to look.
Yeah, with the materials you have in front of you, there's not a lot you can do to do that stuff, this kind of mobile thing that you're wanting to do. But the thing about wire is that, let's say you attached wire to the back of this finger. You could make it stay in different positions because the wire bends, right? So that would open up that possibility.
Thank you.
That's one thing I have. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, for what it's worth. Again, just with Charu, if you have any questions, let me know. If you're comfortable jumping in to this, it's an open project, which is important from where I'm coming from, to keep things open. But Charu, feel free to ask questions or show me what you're working on, and I can help you out. At this point, I'm going to be working along with you. I actually, I haven't decided what I'm going to be creating tonight exactly, but I certainly have a lot of things I've already made. I might continue a series of things. I'll share that as I go, and I'd encourage you guys to keep each other updated on your progress. I know it's a small group, but that could be really cool.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Sorry. How
Please
would
do.
you paint fur?
Ooh, I love that question. Okay. So this is the squirrel tail, right? Now, this is where Zoom is actually pretty good. To paint fur, what I like to do, I started with a dark background. I painted a dark background because fur has the impression that things are laying on, you have layers of fur, right? It's not just one layer, like hair, right? Lots of hairs within the hairs within the hairs. So you start with a dark, and then what you do is I would say, if you have a brush, a flat brush, although if you're using colored pencil, we'll talk about that. But I found if you're painting flat brush and getting just some paint on the top, and then light touch, very light touch, and flicking it. It's all in the light touch and the flick, and that's great for fur. And varying the colors that you layer. So as you can see, I have some yellow in there. I have a lot of sort of white stuff. Can't quite tell, but there are some grays kind of throughout here. Right? And you let the good thing about what you're working with, if you're working with acrylic or watercolor, it can dry pretty fast, so you can layer up within a couple minutes. For colored pencil, it's a somewhat similar idea. Light touch, flicking in the direction that the fur is going, layering it up, making sure you have multiple colors that you're layering. What fur are you thinking of depicting?
I haven't thought of it yet.
That's good. You could just do the platonic ideal of fur if you wanted. Yeah, that would be great. But yeah, that's my suggestion for fur.
Okay, so get started.
Get started, yeah. I mean, and also as far as if you're having trouble thinking about like ideas, just share with me, and I can maybe help you make a decision. And maybe I will. What are your all's thoughts about a little bit of background music? It's okay.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Something light. Okay. I will search for something.
Sorry to have so many questions.
No. Or I'm honestly, I want your questions, or else it's going to just be a lonely, a quiet hour. So yeah, please.
So like, what's a good size to like shoot for as a first one?
I can't hear you. I'm not sure if your
what? Can you hear me now?
audio went out, or
What?
It says that we're
unmuted. Can you hear us?
I don't think I'm.
Oh, can you hear us now?
Oh, sorry. That was my bad, actually. I can hear you now.
Okay. Oh, so like, I mean, just as a first one, is it better to go big or small or?
I found it's good to go larger than finger sized, but smaller than head sized. Let's say that. So that's why I've been doing these things that I'll show you some other things that I've been doing. I've been doing things around finger size. I'm also a bartender and a waiter in another life. So it's a check presenter. I've been doing these kinds of traffic cones that have different. This is where the implied movement comes in. So I haven't attached the rings yet to the backs. I plan to, but yeah, I think this size is great. The thing is, the smaller you make it, it's a little trickier to cut out, right? So maybe you do want to go like you could go. Let's say you could go up to half of the size of this sheet. You know, I'd say that would be the largest thing you'd want to make right now.
Yeah.
Sure. What are you guys thinking of making?
We're still thinking.
I think I know what I'm gonna do, but I don't really know.
Okay, feel free to share. Creative process is a long and meandering road. I just thought of one note I wanted to say about colored pencil for fur. If you're still on that fur idea, you want to work with lighter colors first and then do darker, because you probably know this already, but you can't get a light colored pencil to stick on top of a dark colored pencil background. You won't really see it, right?
Huh, okay. Ooh, sorry, can I ask you another question?
Yeah, what's up?
I'm not very good at drawing, but I do this little guy in a class. Oh, sorry, you can't see it. But I have like this little guy. It's hard to see. That's the little background. Hold on.
Yeah, it keeps going in and out with your background.
Hold on, wait. I'm trying to figure out how you turn that off. How do you turn the background off?
If you go
stop video.
Oh, wait, here it is. I see it.
It is.
I know.
Background, hit none.
Sorry, I couldn't find it. Okay, sorry. Oh wait, so I have like this little guy here.
Yes.
But I want to. I don't know, because my drawing's not coming out the way I wanted it.
Okay.
I wanted to blow him up to like fit on a paper like this. Are you good at figuring out, like, if I have a copier, how much I should blow him up?
Oh, I see what you're doing.
But just to use as like a template, then I could use them as a template.
So are you saying do you want to make the cutout from the bigger one?
Well, like, this is the size you said to shoot for.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So this is the size. Like, I'm drawing him and he looks sick. So this kind of so I thought if I just used him as a template, I could get over that hurdle.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Because I like his proportions and everything. But now
you like proportions. Oh, you're trying to replicate the proportions in that first drawing.
But in a bigger size.
But in a bigger format. Okay. So you have a copier, you said?
Yeah.
Oh. You would be better. You would know that machine better than I do. So, but
I'm just wondering, like, percentages, if you're good at like knowing, like.
So the method. Do you have tracing paper by any chance? Because the method I do if I want to transfer a drawing is what I do is.
Oh, make a grid?
Yeah, I make a grid. Do you know this grid method?
Okay.
So in other words, yeah, if you do the same number of squares, but at a different size,
okay.
you would be able to, you'd be doing this by hand, but you would be able to draw the new one.
Okay, all right. Oh, that's good. Okay, thanks.
So yeah, I would first make the grid over the small drawing. And then make another grid of the same number of boxes over your big surface and copy what you see in the small drawing on the big drawing.
Okay.
Just make sure that the squares are the same, not the same size, but the same dimensions, the same proportions.
oh wait, sorry, and then I have one more question. So like as I was like looking at this and trying to like draw it and everything, is there like, I don't know, I'm getting a feeling that I would want to be layering paper to get more of a dimensionality to it. Is that crazy or?
No, not at all. I mean, it looks like, I couldn't tell if your little dude is kind of like a porcupine-like creature. Hedgehog creature, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like the part where the you have the pointy fur or spines or whatever could be a different thing that you pasted on. I don't think it's necessary. Why don't you, have you also been looking on your computer for images of hedgehogs or other sources?
No.
Would that do you feel like that would ruin the process, or could that help?
I could do that. Yeah. I mean, I just thought, well, I'm always slow to get going, and I just have to have this drawing from today. Well, and I wanted to try to make his head turn.
Oh yeah, right. Here's an idea. I mean, well, so again, since I'm a newcomer to puppetry in its technical sense and coming at it from painting, what if you did one head, one face, and then you did one body? And what if the body went at this angle and the face went like that? And so you can make a puppet / form. Let's say that the body is the thing that you put your finger into. And then so the puppet could have a sense of dimensionality because the face would be this way. And the way you would attach them is either by making a slit in the face somewhere.
Oh, and then
so you could stick that in there a little bit, or you could simply fold back an edge of the body and then tape or paste it to the head like that, right?
Wait. So I don't know. My background's turn off the background.
Okay, Mom.
Wait. Yeah, I could try that. But what I was thinking, wait, sorry, she's turning off the background, was to try to draw it like on this fold here, so that like the head was here, and then you could have it like on a pencil or something, and it could like turn.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
That would work too.
I don't know.
That would work too. I mean, that might require just a bit more ingenuity from you, but go with whatever. I mean, which method sounds good to you right now?
I don't know. I guess I'll do it. First, I'll try to get the guy drawn.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I know this sounds counterintuitive, but worry the least about the drawing issue. worry the least about it, because you're going to be covering it up with color, and then it's going to get cut out, blah 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 blah, right?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me just take this moment to open up for any questions that there may be, and just to see where you're at. And if you want to just give a thumbs up if you are in a good place, that's fine, or you can talk, up to you. Are you in the process?
Yep, in the process.
In the process, perfect. So Cecilia, I'm wondering, what are you making?
Wait, so I can't do the 3D thing, so I'm just gonna make a simple 2-dimensional, guy like this.
Just a front face, just with one face?
Yeah, just to start
with,
since
cool.
We're running out of time.
Yeah, that's okay. That sounds good. And Acadia?
I'm making an alien. That's made out of like bags of vegetables and fruits that are fruit vegetables, and they're burlap.
Huh. What do you mean burlap? Like the material burlap, like a sack?
Yeah, like a burlap sack. It's like taken apart, like they're cut up. The sacks are cut up and then put back together in different like configure it into like a.
Oh man. Oh yeah. Oh, I love it. Yes, very, very Invasion of Aliens vibes. I feel that right now. It's like we're all aliens out there with our masks on.
Oh, how about you? What are you doing?
So I am I'm doing something kind of meta. I'm doing I'm gonna turn my scissors into their own puppet. So I just love these really cool scissors.
Aw.
So I'm gonna make them nervous scissors though. So I'm gonna fill this space with like nervous marks. So it'll be anxious scissors. Yeah.
Oof. There's another palette
Where's
over.
black?
So I like reversed it. I ended up painting it first and now I'm cutting it out. I don't know if you folks are at that stage or what.
I went with your cut it out first. So
Okay.
I brought
Yeah,
up a picture of rutabagas on Siri, and now I'm trying to draw one.
oh my gosh, that's a very like, that's like an advanced food. I don't think I knew what a rutabaga was at your age.
Just
I don't
came
think
up
I ate
with
one
root
until I was like
vegetables.
30. It just came up. Oh, under vegetables. Okay, that makes sense.
She didn't look up vegetables. It just my brain just brought up some different root vegetables, and I'm like, okay, potatoes is kind of obvious since I'm growing potatoes on my
Right.
porch, and rutabagas was.
Yeah. I'm a big parsnip fan myself. Parsnips and turnips are nice too.
Yeah.
Are either of you do you grow food in a garden at all at home?
I have potatoes and a couple herbs.
Oh, you do? Okay, yeah.
What else, Dad?
bok choy.
Bok choy,
Oh,
chives, and
awesome.
other things I can't bring up in my mind. Oh, I'm growing a carrot on our dining room table.
Good luck to that carrot. I remember fresh garden carrots. My grandma had a garden growing up, and they're just amazing. The stuff in the store just doesn't compare. I also found that about like snap peas. Remember, fresh garden peas were just, oh my gosh, transformative.
I have yet to grow them.
Yeah. Why do you think that is? I mean, it sounds like you have a lot going on already. So